Hello aspirants and welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today we have an exciting topic to discuss, especially for all of you who are aspiring to crack the upcoming UPSC Combined Geoscientist examination. We are going to explore a study conducted by the Department of Psychology at Washington University that sheds light on a powerful strategy for acing competitive exams. Now we all know that competitive exams demand a lot from us, starting from loads of information, complex concepts, and the ability to recall them under pressure, isn't it? Well, here is the good news. This study offers insight into a technique that can significantly boost your long-term retention of information and improve your performance in the actual exams. It's called repeated testing, and it's more than just another study hack. Now imagine this. Instead of solely cramming or rereading your notes over and over again, you actively engage your memory by taking practice tests or the mock tests. And trust me, this method has a powerful impact on how well you remember and perform in the actual exam. But don't just take my words for it. The study we are going to discuss today are conducted by the expert at the Washington University is set to unravel the impact of repeated testing on long-term retention. In this study, they found out that those who engaged in repeated testing during their learning phase had significantly better long-term retention compared to those who relied solely on rereading or just studying their notes again and again. So the important question here are, why does this method work? How does actively retrieving information from memory actually strengthen your learning journey, isn't it? We will delve into the science behind it, explore the concept of testing effect, and understand how actively recalling information during these tests help create robust memory pathways. You may think of it as your brain's workout routine for retaining knowledge in the long term. Right? So, whether you are studying for history, geology, or any subject that requires you to remember loads of information, this study's insight can be your secret weapon. Stick around as we break down the findings, explore their implication for your study routine, and empower you to make the most of your preparation. Right? Now, have you ever wondered if there is a better way to manage your study time? Well, that's precisely what this study conducted by Karpik and Rodiger wanted to find out. Their study has some really interesting findings that we are going to share today with you. They were curious about how practicing recall, just like taking tests, might affect your memory in the long term. They wanted to see if taking practice tests during learning could help us remember better. But they didn't stop there. They also looked at whether mixing up study and test sessions could actually make a difference. You might be wondering why testing, why not just study more? Well, these researchers also stumbled upon the same questions. They wanted to find out if practicing retrieval, like in tests, could be just studying when it comes to remembering things. But there is more to it. They also looked at mixing up study sessions and test sessions. And according to the results, how you space these two sessions actually matter a lot. They wanted to see how it affects your memory. And the results are very interesting. Now let's break it down. These researchers wanted to find out the best way to remember things in the long run, isn't it? They were curious about whether taking tests or simply reviewing notes helped more. To find out those answers, they have conducted two sets of experiments. Experiment 1 was all about repeated testing, and guess what? Those who took practice tests actually remembered more. Participants who did repeated testing recalled more on the final test 1 week later compared to those who just reviewed their notes. And then experiment 2 took things further. They played with different ways of studying and testing. The results were interesting. The standard way, where you alternate between studying and testing, gave the best results. This method boosted initial learning and later retention. But why did this happen? Well, this method provided more feedback and allowed the testing effect to work its magic. The testing effect sounds intriguing, right? It's all about the effect of taking tests or practice retrieval. Ever wonder why sometimes we remember better after giving a test than after studying? Here is the explanation. When you actively retrieve information during a test, it's like giving your memory a boost. Think of it as flexing your muscle memory. This process strengthens the pathways in your brain, making what you learn stick around for a longer period of time. And the research consistently shows the amazing benefit of this testing effect. For instance, in this particular study, students who did repeated testing during learning actually remembered better than those who simply reviewed their notes, isn't it? But why does this happen? Well, retrieval practice like tests strengthens the connection in your brain linked to that particular information. It's like making a memory superhighway that's easy to travel down later in future, right? Plus, there is more to it. Taking tests also give you instant feedback. It's like having a GPS for your learning journey. You know what you have done right and what needs a bit more attention. So, here is the bottom line. Embrace retrieval practice, take tests, quiz yourself on a regular basis for better performance in the actual exam. Another important yet profound concept used in this study was concept of desirable difficulty, which was introduced by Bock. It is like adding a twist to your learning journey, such as facing certain hurdles or making things a bit tougher. Surprisingly, these challenges can supercharge your memory and your learning potential. Think of the testing effect as an example of this particular concept. Instead of just studying the same material over and over again, which is very easy to do, try taking tests or quizzing yourself. Because engaging in retrieval practice requires your active memory muscle to work, isn't it? Which will eventually lead to better long-term memory. But why does it work? Well, when things get a bit more challenging, you are forced to dig deeper, process more information thoroughly, and retrieve them in an active learning manner. This leads to creating rock-solid memory traces that stays for a long duration. Studies show that techniques like spacing out study sessions, mixing different topics, and changing up your learning environment can do actually wonders for you. And these desirable difficulties promote deep processing and better memory retention for future tests. And this brings us to the another important concept called transfer appropriate processing, which is a simple but powerful strategy for boosting memory performance. Imagine your memory like a puzzle, which is made up of many pieces. Transfer appropriate processing is like finding the perfect fit for those pieces. And it's all about how what you are learning matches the way you retrieve information later in the actual test. Let's understand with an example. Imagine when you are studying, you are preparing for an important final test. But here is the twist: how you study and practice retrieving information matters more than you think. Why? Well, your brain has the pathways that connect what you learn with how you remember them. The transfer appropriate processing says that if you practice retrieving information in the same manner how you will retrieve it later in the exam, it will create a superhighway for your memory. The big idea behind this concept is that your memory works best when the conditions for practice match those of the real situation. For instance, if the final test requires you to recall information without giving you many clues, such as both in your prelims and in your mains exam, practicing mock tests that way can give you an edge over others. In a nutshell, it all boils down to this, that matching how you learn with how you will remember is the key to success. So what is the major takeaway for students like us who are preparing for the competitive exams? The conclusion of the study clearly indicates that repeated testing during the learning phase is your ticket to superior long-term retention compared to mere repeated learning. The findings of this study have important implications for competitive exams. Incorporating retrieval practice such as frequent testing in your study routines can actually enhance long-term retention of information. Instead of solely relying on repetitive learning or mere studying, you can benefit from incorporating regular testing as a learning strategy. And also for competitive exams where long-term retention of a large amount of information is crucial, the study suggests that incorporating retrieval practice through testing can be an effective strategy. Regularly testing yourself on the material being studied can help reinforce those learning. It will also improve your memory recall and will also enhance overall performance in the final exam. This approach can be particularly beneficial for subjects that require factual knowledge, such as certain portions of the general studies like history, Indian polity, or current affairs for that matter, and for subjects like stratigraphy, paleontology, distribution of mineral resources, etc. Furthermore, this study emphasizes the importance of the study test sequence. Alternating study and mock test, as in the standard condition, provide more frequent feedback and opportunities for information retrieval, which leads to enhanced learning and long-term retention. Therefore, you must structure your study sessions to include regular testing and interspaced study sessions to optimize learning and retention of information. The findings are not just fascinating, but also remarkably practical for anyone aiming to excel in the competitive exams, just like us aspiring for the UPSC Combined Geoscientist examination, isn't it? And by integrating this insight into your study routine, you are not only equipping yourself with knowledge, but also setting the stage for the long-term success. Remember, the journey to acing the exams is paved with right strategies, and you are now armed with one of the best. So go ahead, embrace the testing effect, and witness the transformation in your learning journey by yourself. Happy studying and best of luck for your preparation. I'll see you in the next one.